Okay, it's Friday and we are leaving today, but before we head back to the airport, we are going to go visit a really big cemetery here in Havana called El Cementerio Colón, I believe, like Christopher Columbus Cemetery. Not that he's buried here, they just named it after him. I'm excited to go see this place. I mean, who doesn't love a beautiful old cemetery with beautiful old monuments? And so I'll take some videos when I get there. I also wanted to show you how fabulous my hair looks this morning. And then I'll show you later how unfabulous it looks once I get outside of this air-conditioned room into the heat and humidity of Havana. All right, if I did that right, it should be recording. Okay, we are here in the cemetery of Christopher Columbus, and I'm here with my good friend, Dr. Henthorn, what was that word you used?
Taphophile.
He's a taphophile.
Taphophile extraordinaire.
He's also works in monument restoration and preservation in cemeteries in and around Flint.
All over Michigan.
All over Michigan. And so he's going to give us some history lessons on significance of things. We are starting out right now at this gorgeous monument. I'm going to turn the thing around. And this for the firemen. Wow.
Yeah.
I need to really look up for this one. I need to get in a street. Okay, now what were you saying? It's made out of marble?
Yeah, so it's great. It's a combination of, you've got gray marble and then these plaques in the front. You see some white marble mixed in there. Marble is an amazing substance to work with because the way it refracts light makes everything seem more lifelike. It doesn't weather as well as granite, but we don't have that problem as much here in Cuba. So you can see here, one thing to remember is everything in a cemetery means something, all right? So let's take a look at a couple of things that we might think are not a big deal, but they are. So you see this wreath this person's holding here?
Okay.
Why did they give what does a wreath usually symbolize?
I think it's
victory.
A winner of some sort,
Victory,
yes.
Yeah, so victory over death, right? You see this little thing, this little flora right next to our plaque in the middle?
Yes.
Right, that's a canthus, all right? That's a nod, and you see how it kind of looks like a column here?
Yes.
So that's a nod back to the ancient world. It's like Greek revival. A canthus, the really fancy columns, the Corinthian columns, that's a canthus you see on the top of those. A canthus is also always green. Yeah. So those are just two examples. So every time you look at a monument in a cemetery, even if you're not looking at words, the symbols are telling you something. We only have a couple of them like that in Flint where somebody actually scribbled their names on it.
Now, I know I'm recording in a cemetery and that may seem sacrilegious, but actually it's not. There are cemetery tours all over the world, and these monuments are to be seen by the living as they come to remember those who they love, who have passed on. They're also monuments of history. And so this is not anything sacrilegious, and doing it with respect to those who are buried here in appreciation of their monuments.
Very little about cemetery traditions outside, burial customs outside. So I definitely have to find out more.
My friend Tomas here is pondering perhaps why there are different headstones here, and that perhaps this is a family crypt, and so that multiple members of the same family have been buried here. But of course, as he said, he doesn't know everything about it, so he's going to have to do some investigating. That's our current hypothesis. Additionally, he mentioned that marble, the weathering of marble, what'd you say, sugar?
It's sugaring.
It's called sugaring, so that's why it feels like that, as marble weathers. It's called sugaring. That's how marble weathers. That's how you know it's marble, I guess.
And this is air pollution and mildew. Combination of air pollution and mildew, you see.
Good to know.
Yeah.
All right, we shall go on further.
Oh my gosh. I love Sacred Heart of Jesus.
You love what?
Sacred Heart of Jesus.
Oh, me too, actually. It's one of my favorite
That's one of my favorite devotions.
icons. Yeah. Where do you see it?
Yeah, right here. Right on, back it up, right on this one right here.
I'm going to wind up hurting myself if I don't watch where I'm walking, because the ground is a little crumbly here and there, so I need to focus on where I'm walking. Yeah, beautiful. There's the chapel. I think we're gonna stop into there if we can before we leave. We have about an hour and 15 minutes here. Now this cemetery, I think, was 1700 somewhere, founded 1770.
Yeah, the original one. Most of the sculptures that we're seeing here, these are going to be things that come out of the 19th century tradition of funerary monuments.
Yeah.
All right, so mourning in the 19th century was a very public process, and the big statues are part of that.
Oh. Awesome.
Okay, so I'm just going to say right now, I don't know how much time they have for us scheduled to do a trip here, but I want to talk to them. I want to do it in the morning so we can spend like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, this place is huge.
You can lose yourself.
Totally get lost in this
Nearby
place.
is the Chinese cemetery.
Really?
Yeah. It's like it butts up against it somewhere.
Now, yeah, you can see as far as the eye can see. It really is quite huge. We only have about an hour here today. We're kind of exploring on our own, but I think when we bring the students back, we definitely need maybe a guide. Maybe a guide when we bring back the students. No, do we need, oh, I mean, I'm so sorry. He looks offended. Absolutely not. He is going to learn everything he needs to know so that by the time we get back here with the student, he will be the guide. Mea culpa, my bad. 1,000 pardons, sir. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not going to film inside the chapel, so. Kind of walking around the chapel. I think that the larger monuments are going to be along the road.
Yeah,
here.
this is the high rent district, basically.
The high rent district.
That's how it works in cemeteries. Look at how clean the lines are. So this is hand carved. This is more than likely hand carved.
Dr. Henthorn is in love with this marble and that how good it stays. It doesn't stay this beautiful in Michigan, apparently. And he explained to me earlier that these upside down torches, usually when you put a torch upside down, the flame extinguishes, but these are still burning. So that's the symbolism of the eternal flame. I hope I'm not blinding you with the sun. Right. Eternal life, I'm sorry.
And, see this
the eternal flame, eternal life.
So this is like a Gothic revival. This is a combination. You've got Gothic revival and you've got kind of classical revival all in the same piece. That's pretty common, really. So here's an urn with a torch on it. An urn, very common motif for mourning in the 19th century. Quiz time, Stephanie. You see above the little gable right there, above the cross? What's that kind of green stuff called?
I failed this quiz, y'all.
Yeah, acanthus. More acanthus. Look at that. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I failed. So have you noticed anything about the years? Have you seen anything really old? Or I've seen mostly 1900s, 1920s.
Yeah, so, I mean, they reuse these a lot, right? So some of the dates on here are a little more, for a marble cemetery. So in the United States, by the time we get to the 1920s, granite has replaced marble.
Okay.
Right? But they're still, look at, this is a relatively new one. Feel this.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So this entire monument is pretty new, or at least the top of it's pretty new, all right, compared to this one here. See how weathered that is?
Yes.
So So that kind of surprises me, the use of marble.
Still.
But I guess, you know, in Cuba, where it's hard to get everything, maybe that's more. Maybe they can get that more than granite.
Well, it wasn't always hard to get it.
That's true. That's true.
It wasn't always
Well,
hard
this,
to
like
get
I said,
everything.
this
It
is
was
recent. This
a
is
rich
after.
island.
This is after 1959.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is obviously, you know,
Yes.
and yeah. So maybe.
Now,
What is this? So you see why they call these necropolis?
cities of the dead.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that one's even from 1954. It looks like this little one here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So yeah, the United States by 1954, you know, we're making things like that out of granite. Something small, something, you know, or it's flush against the ground.
there's another obelisk with a bird on it back there, of course.
Century modern look to it.
A mid-century modern architecture, or a newer.
So that's a style, you know, mid 20th century is what that means.
Right. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep a respectful distance. Dr. Henthorne was especially enamored of this painted one, painted like the houses here in Havana are